Z's added the next Mahito Awakening move, and to answer the big question, does it make Mahito's Awakening good or on par with the other Awakenings? No, not at all. Not even close. In this video, I'll go over the new updates and how they affect the balance of the game, which does mean a lot considering how balance focused this update as a whole is. And we'll go over the elephant in the room, which is a new head splitter move, that in all honesty, is just straight up garbage. Before that though, make sure to subscribe for even more JJS information, and now, let's get into the video. Mahito has a new awakening move called Head Splitter. Focus Strike has a new R variant. There's an aerial variant for Dismantle. Destruction Smoke is a new beta setting for the game that adds Minecraft smoke when buildings are destroyed. Build mode requests are here, letting players load and save their builds in private servers if the owner allows it. The Bring command is back. There's new animations for Megamis M1s. There's 4 new animations. Mahoraga's skill 4 has different cooldowns depending on what move was used. The cooldown for Idle Transfiguration is lower. The cooldown for Shadow Swarm is lower. You no longer collide with some visual effects. The burst window was extended to 0.7 seconds after stun. The curved train wheels from the station were removed. Leaderboard players are now removed from the leaderboard if they're inactive for over 24 days. The leaderboard now updates every 5 minutes instead of every minute, probably for optimization or something. Dismantle damage was nerfed. Finally, there's a bunch of bug fixes that I'm just going to put on the screen here. Starting with the discussions of each update, let's talk about the 2 new Mahito moves. First, Mahito's Focus Strike variant is an interesting move that feels very situational to me. The move has a very long windup before doing a long-range slash that ragdolls anyone hit towards the user, setting them up for combos. Combat-wise, I'd say the move is awful for neutral, but there are definitely situations that it works in. The move's long startup makes it really bad for neutral because people can easily just dash in any direction to escape the hitbox, or even worse for the user, simply interrupt it. However, using it to hit people who are ragdolled as an alternative to Black Flash works decently well, and while this is kind of a cop-out, the move will work in neutral on people who are really slow to react, or have already used up their dash and are in the mid-range where the move is most effective. It pales in comparison to normal Focus Strike, but variants aren't supposed to be all that strong. They're things that you use in very specific scenarios, and I think this move fits the bill just fine. As for Head Splitter, I don't really have words to express just how utterly garbage this move is. In a nutshell, it makes your head pop off your body, before making your body do a bunch of sweeping AoE attacks that do knockback and relatively low damage to anyone in the radius. Meanwhile, you take control of the head and become a tiny little gremlin that, while a little harder to hit, loses the ability to use any awakening moves. One important note is that you can hit yourself with the move, which actually happens almost every time you use it, because of how the head pop doesn't really send you that far, though you'll usually only get hit once by your own move unless you get stuck on a wall. In theory, the move is supposed to act as a stall move to help with Mahito's gimmick, with the user using this move to get away and stall at the fight until Idle Transfiguration is off cooldown. In practice, it's a useless move that does basically nothing. It doesn't do a good job at stalling, because you're still only as fast as a regular person, and your hitbox isn't really any harder to hit than a regular person. The decoy doesn't do a good job stalling either, because while in theory it'd be good to give you time to run away, it more so just ends up with both of you being in neutral because you're usually going to be hit by the move too, instead of giving you time to run away. Head Splitter isn't just the worst awakening move in the game, it's a candidate for being the worst move in the entire game. And while it's a super creative gimmick that definitely fits what Mahito's awakening is designed to be, what Mahito is being designed around just kinda sucks. He gets mauled by every single awakening in the game because they all have ways to shut down his garbage dash move that only works on base movesets, and his domain expansion, while an instant kill, is the same as any other domain, which only really puts him on par with other characters in that aspect. It's garbage, enough said. Mahoraga cooldown change is probably a response to my previous video where I said takedown and adaptation were useless, and while I still consider takedown and adaptation to be complete and utter garbage, it does nerf forward slash enough that the gap is closed at least a little bit. I like the change, even if it's a small step. The aerial variant for Dismantle is crazy, mostly because of how it removes the 2 key weaknesses to forward slash, that being the fact that you can easily interrupt it, and the other being that you can effortlessly jump on the head of the user to avoid the move. Now that the user is in the air, it's impossible to interrupt and impossible to jump over it, or anything like that, meaning that your only options to avoid it are to try and dodge. It's definitely a huge buff that makes World Slash much more viable in combat. As for aerial Dismantle, no World Slash included, the move's fine. It does huge damage and is tough to avoid, also working as a pseudo counter since it sends you into the air. But regular Dismantle is just such a good move that the opportunity cost kinda hampers it a little. Still, it'll get some use by good players who know what situations it works in, so I'd say it's a great variant. Finally, the other balance changes are really small things, but there's a bit of substance to them. Lowering the idle transfiguration cooldown makes it more usable in fights and reduces the downtime where Mahito literally just has to run away in his awakening and can't do anything, making fights a bit more fun. While reducing Shadow Swarm's cooldown honestly doesn't do anything. Shadow Swarm's problem is that the move itself is just garbage that feels more in line with a base moveset, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the cooldown. But it was never really a move that mattered. Much, so unless Z majorly buffs it or something, nothing's really going to change with it, and that's fine by me. Overall, this update is one of the more interesting ones so far, with a lot of substance to it in the form of new moves and variants for a lot of characters. It also does make some balance changes that, while nothing huge, are pretty significant for the balance of the game. Anyways, we're at the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching, make sure to subscribe for more JJS information, and I'll see you next time in another video. I'm Noob Eternally, and have a great day. Bye.